If there is one thing we have seen is how massive hacks, breaches, digital scams, ransomware attacks are all rampant. And an approximation for US alone per PC Mag for 2022 reported about 1,802 total compromises, and most of which were data breaches. These affected about 422 million people. And alongside that, we have also seen a rise in software supply chain attacks as well. So, really, as IBM put it in their 2022 data breach report, in an evolving threat landscape, time is money. So, next, I want to briefly talk about two of such security incidents. Last year, in July, the Virginia Commonwealth University Health System, they posted a privacy violation notification on their website, where they acknowledged that the transplant donor information was included in the medical records for certain transplant recipients. And the transplant recipient information had also been included in the medical records of the transplant donors. And this information included names, social security numbers, lab results, medical record numbers, and date of birth. So, really, a security design flaw that caused such a privacy incident. And most importantly, it went undetected for 16 years. Here's another example about the Kinsing malware. Lately, we have been witnessing a rise in the number of attacks that target the container environments. And one such example is the Kinsing malware that is actively breaching Kubernetes clusters by leveraging known weaknesses in the container images and misconfigurations exposed in Postgres containers. And the Microsoft Defender Cloud team, they reported that they have seen an uptick lately, indicating that threat actors are actively looking for specific entry points. A lot of these factors in security design considerations to minimize access to exposed containers by, say, IP allowed list or following least privilege principles, and also security design for databases to eliminate permissive settings and misconfigurations. So it wasn't a huge surprise when OWASP revised the top 10 list in 2021 and included insecure design as category number 4 in their list that focused on risks related to design flaw. And I think that's great. And I think that's great because a lot of security design considerations need us to think about other categories on the list and also see where they are applicable when we are designing, when we are architecting, when we are deploying, developing and deploying in accordance with it. So, really, what is insecure design? I would say it's a broad category and that needs more explanation to be more meaningful. But in a nutshell, according to OWASP, it is missing or ineffective control design. It is the lack of business risk profiling and the failure to determine what level of security design is really required for what we are building. This is my favorite slide because let's think about the cost of insecure design. Really, what starts with security best practices not being followed early on results in security bugs. It results in security vulnerabilities. And it cascades. It cascades into internal security events and or maybe external incidents. And eventually it results into security breaches. Ultimately, loss of reputation, precious customer trust, and revenue. And in 2003, a study conducted by, I think it was IBM along with NIST. So they conducted a study on the economics of fixing security bugs later in the software development lifecycle, in the maintenance phase, as compared to the design phase. And there's a dramatic difference we see here. But that's 2003. Fast forward to 2023. 2023 is a cloud native agile environment way of working. We cannot even fathom the massive difference if we are fixing the security bugs early versus post implementation or deployment. And another factor here is that security cannot be retrofitted in software. So it's very, very important to account for it in the software design from early on. And also thinking about initial velocity versus sustained velocity. Choosing not to account for critical security requirements early on can help your project velocity early on. But over the lifetime, it is eventually going to slow you down.